Well, the day has finally come. It's time to go to the seating clinic and get fitted for a new chair. I've done this in the past, but I'm not exactly familiar with how this particular physical therapy place does it. I don't know if I'll be able to film anything or not, but I'll let you know what happens. So I specifically remember asking what suite in the building it is, and they're like, oh, you can't miss it. Somehow I'm in the wrong building, I guess, even though the address is the same. Oh, damn it. One. Okay, basement. Yep. Don't worry, I'm only a half hour late. I have an excuse though, I'll explain it later. It's time for the second episode in the New Chair series. Now, this has been delayed a little bit for one simple reason. I didn't film very much. I went to my seating clinic appointment, and it was kind of a rush. I hopped in the new chair. I told them to bring the one that I wanted, which is the Quantum 4 Front. It's Quantum's new front-wheel drive chair that has amazing suspension. But I had about 4 minutes in the chair, and I didn't grab my phone or anything. I just kind of went around in the parking lot, and they were all standing there watching me while I was checking the thing out. Now, typically, I would recommend that if you're going to get a new chair, you want to spend some time with it. See if you can get a demo, maybe take it home. Do whatever you can to make sure you're completely comfortable with it. I'm in sort of a unique situation where, yeah, I've got a lot of power chairs, and you may be wondering, well, why aren't you getting a Permobil? Well, I've got like 17 of them, and I'm sitting in the F3 now, which is an awesome chair, but the Quantum 4 Front represents some new technology, and I want to check it out, and I want to learn about it, and specifically I want to learn how to program them. Quantum with the QLogic 3 has cloud-locked programming, and I've actually got some friends that own a mobility store. The requirements that Quantum has to program these chairs are so outrageous and expensive that they're just like, nope, we're not going to touch them. You have to get approval from Quantum to make the changes. The tech that is making the adjustments has to have the up-to-date programmer for that chair, which is super expensive, and then they have to request what modifications they want to make. Quantum has to approve it, and this all kind of has to be done sort of real time. So if you're going to make some changes and they don't think that you should be making them, like, I don't know, stealth mode, maybe removing all the inhibits, any number of things. So it's going to be interesting to see if I can gain access to these things. But I wanted to get one of these new chairs, one, for a learning perspective, two, try something a little different. They're not using a gyroscope for traction control. They're actually using angle encoders on the rear caster wheels. And then also, three, I want to be able to show you guys something other than Permobils. All the other chairs that I have are kind of old, and I don't know. So I hopped in the chair, I ran around for a little bit, I was completely blown away by the suspension that it has. I mean, even light years better than my Amy Systems chair, and that's saying a lot. So I just went ahead and pulled the trigger. I was like, let's get this one. I know the seating's going to be comfortable, we got it all set up for me, and we're waiting for approval from the insurance company now. But the reason the video was delayed, I didn't get any footage of the chair at all, and I didn't want this to be a thing where I'm just sitting here talking and showing nothing at all. So this afternoon, I went with a couple of friends out to the DME provider, and we actually checked out the chair again and let them look at it as well. So I've got a few clips of that. Alright, since I only had about 4 minutes to check out the chair at the seating appointment, I'm actually headed out to the provider now, or the DME company, and we're going to check out this chair again. And I'm actually meeting a couple other friends out here because they want to also check it out. Plus, I didn't get any footage of it, so that's one of the reasons this video has been delayed a little bit, is I wanted to at least show the chair. I didn't want it to be one of those things where I'm just sitting in front of my desk and talking the whole time, so yeah. Oh look, scenery and stuff. And whatever that thing is. Some sort of weird Jenga knockoff. Yeah, those motors sound identical to the Permobil ones. The way they howl when you get on it, like going up a hill.
Let's race.
See if I can get the sound. Go for it. Yeah. I don't know if the camera picks it up over Franklin's chair, but yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, well-designed motors have that little bit of a howl when you really get into them. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, so try starting in that bike lane and then coming towards me, hitting this angle here. Yeah, so come up here and then go up this bump and down. And try to forget what you know about your chair and just push straight forward as you hit this. Does that feel like it tracks better? Yeah. Yeah.
Bumped up and this one lifted. This one got more traction and it eased up.
Yeah.
This one spun more and when it came back down and hit, it let off.
Yeah, it's interesting to feel how you can tell it's actually doing something.
That was the first time I felt it. Really.
Hi, center. Yeah, try running over the drain behind this truck just to see what that feels like.
I don't know how you guys don't shit yourself.
Takes getting used to. Isn't that smooth?
Yeah, nothing. That's crazy.
It's like 70s Cadillac.
That didn't feel like I went over anything.
My seating clinic appointment was on August 21st. That's been a few weeks ago now. So that's roughly almost a month from the time that I first started this process. And I call it a seating clinic. Other places call it physical therapy, wheelchair evaluation, or any number of things. But essentially you go and see a physical therapist and an OTP or ATP. An ATP, it's assistive technology professional, I believe. They show up as well. That's usually someone from the DME supplier or the provider that you're buying your chair from, like New Motion or whoever you happen to be using. And them and the therapist get together with you. They get out their giant caliper thingies. They measure all your proportions, your hip width, and basically talk about your needs and everything that you need. And potentially they may have a couple chairs for you there to try. They might do pressure mapping if you don't know what kind of cushion you need and all that. Well, in my case, I knew exactly what I needed, so they just got the measurements. They didn't have to pressure map anything. And I knew which chair I wanted to look at, and I made sure that they brought it. That's one of the other things, is if there's a chair you're interested in, and your appointment is coming up for the evaluation, you want to get a hold of your DME provider and say, hey, these are the chairs I'm interested in. Do you have them? And or can you make sure you bring them so that I can check them out? Now, you may not have all the time in the world. The appointments are typically an hour, maybe 90 minutes. So you can hop into a few chairs. It's going to be a lot of transferring. So find out ahead of time if you're going to need a Hoyer lift or some help, or if you're able to do 6 to 10 transfers if they're pressure mapping and trying other things. So something to think about in advance. But I went there, they took all the measurements and everything, and I tested the chair for a few minutes and decided, yeah, let's go ahead and do it. After that, the physical therapist will write up everything. Basically, I'm not sure if I think it's a letter of medical necessity is what they write. But it basically outlines everything you need, all your measurements, all the diagnosis codes and whatnot. They write all that up and then they give it to your DME provider. The DME provider then takes all this information and then they will go through, because they're, in theory, experienced with this type of stuff and they don't want to have your claim denied by your insurance company because they overlooked something. So they know what codes, what billing codes and medical diagnoses, whatever, are applicable to getting the insurance company to pay for that particular feature. When I was there, they were like, oh, they may not pay for, power tilt or recline or power legs and all this other stuff. So if you're a bit savvy with the interwebs or know someone that's in medical billing or coding, you want to figure out each of your diagnosis codes and make sure everything is up to date in your medical file. because the DME provider will then take all the information from the therapist, go through your diagnosis codes, and then they will get a hold of your doctor, and the insurance companies typically want chart notes as well as diagnosis codes.
But I was just calling to give you kind of an update on the power chair order we're working on for you.
Okay.
I've sent over some documentation over to the doctor for them to sign, fill out, and or co-sign, and then also requested some chart notes talking about the need for the power chair and everything.
So they're going to request all that information from your doctor. A doctor is going to send all that stuff to the DME provider. DME is going to go over everything, make sure all the codes they're trying to get approval for have matching medical documentation and chart notes. For some reason, chart notes are really important. Not always, but whatever. So there was a couple things I noticed that were missing on my medical record. So I talked to my doctor, got those added. So things like swelling and edema in your legs will help pay for power elevating leg rests. If you've had pressure sores and whatnot, they've got to be like stage 2 or 3. You don't have to currently have them, but have a history of having pressure sores. Then that will help you qualify for tilt, where the whole chair tilts back, so you can help reposition yourself and whatnot. And then recline, that is typically specifically for if you use catheters or things like that. Sometimes it can be used for if you have in-home care and they're helping getting you dressed and stuff like that. But then the insurance company may think, well, you can just do that while you're in bed or on the sofa or on a PT mat or something. So for me, you know, using catheters, having pressure sores, edema in the legs, and then there's a few other underlying medical conditions that help qualify for that as well. Made sure all that was in there. So now, I think today or yesterday, they went ahead and submitted all that information to my insurance company. So now you wait anywhere between 2 to 3 weeks, up to a month maybe, and the insurance company will come back and say, okay, here's what's approved, here's what's denied. And hopefully, if everything's been done properly, it'll all be approved. And then they can go ahead and order the chair. And then same thing there, couple 3 weeks up to a month before the chair gets ordered and delivered. And then sometimes what they'll have to do if you're getting a new chair is do an in-home evaluation. I don't know if I need that. One of my other friends had to get an in-home evaluation because he's also getting a chair at the same time I am. They come and check to make sure, you know, the chair will even fit in your house, and sometimes they're in depth, sometimes they're not. Like sometimes they'll want to look at your bathroom and the doors and make sure there's room for your chair to get inside, and just make sure extra layer of maybe they're not wasting money. I mean, I don't know, if you order a chair and you can't, you know, physically get it into your garage or your house or anything, then they might be like, what are we doing? So, something else they do there. So that's pretty much it for this video. Just basically wanted to recap how the process works and where I'm at in the process. I should hear something back in a couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks or so, just while all the paperwork and stuff is getting shuffled around and when the insurance company happens to render a decision. I guess from what I'm hearing, the particular insurance company that I'm using at the moment is pretty quick about this stuff. Now, due to recent events, I may not be sticking with this insurance company. They've tried to kill me twice now. And, well, while the old company was mind-numbingly annoying, they weren't dangerous. And I do have the option to switch back to them. So, I don't know. I'm going to wait till I get the new chair and see what's happening there. I'm getting the replacement breathing machine here very soon. Not from insurance, from a viewer. Thank you, by the way. I'll talk about that in the next video. But, yeah. So anyhow, thanks for watching. I'll keep you guys updated with this process. And let me know if you have any questions down below. And, yeah. See you in the next one. See you in the next one. Wait, to enunciate my words.